So what we continue to hear out of the Biden administration, I'm going to try to give them some advice today, is that the biggest existential, I got that word right, threat is climate change. I have suggested on prior shows that's not the case. And I'm here to make a case about what I think are the three most important existential threats that face our country in November of 2021. Now, I have to point out that we are not negative on the environment. I am a pro-environment person as it relates to, let's keep our oceans clean, let's keep the plastics out of our oceans, let's make sure we have clean air, let's make sure we have good drinking water. I am for all of that. I am not anti-environment in any way, shape, or form. But this climate change thing has taken so much precedent. And when you take a look now at the attack on fossil fuels and some of our, basic industries, not only in this country, but in the world, all based on a 40-year study on climate change where the planet Earth is 6 billion years old, this is ridiculous to me. And I want to talk a little bit about what I think the three key existential threats, the real threats are to our society. Number one, as I've mentioned in these Unplugs, and I've covered it, we have $29 trillion of debt and counting in the United States of America. 29 trillion. We are running deficits that are clearly running over $1 trillion a year. This is without these spending packages. This is before the infrastructure bill. This is before this Build Back Better thing that I don't think is going to pass. But the bottom line is we are going so far in debt. I have said the country is broke and we can't pay this money back, and we're leaving the problem to our kids and our grandkids. That's an existential threat in my mind, and that's a big one. The second one is China. We've covered China now on this show over and over. And every time you turn around, China's doing something else. They are, again, the economic and military adversary to the United States. They are not a competitor. They don't like the way we live. They don't like our culture. And they would like to disrupt it as much as they could. They would like to have their culture take over the world. And we've got to make sure that that doesn't happen. But China is a mess. We get back to, again, Amnesty International. You guys can look that up. The Muslim ethnic minorities face mass imprisonment and persecution in China. Okay? I mean, are we just going to turn our heads, have a 3.5-hour summit, and we never talk about these poor Muslim people that are being persecuted by this tyranny, this terrible, terrible communist regime? Is this not something that we want to talk about? Because we seem in the United States to pick all these things that we want to talk about, right? I mean, we get back to, our first segment, which is the Baby It's Cold Outside. That's a problem, that song. But then over here, you got 17,000 other songs that are equally a problem or a worse problem that nobody wants to talk about. We got to put it all on the table. And I get back to, again, you want to solve the United States problem. You have to solve it right here. You can't solve it on the right, all the way over here. The good old boys or whatever the hell their name is, I don't want to talk to them. And over here, the AOCs and the progressives of the world can't solve anything over here. It's got to be solved here. But at the same time, we've got to get all the cards out on the table. And then again, ladies and gentlemen of the 2B Frank Show, this COVID-19 thing is an existential threat to our country and to the world. 5 million people dead. 5 million people dead in 2020, 2021. 5 million people and counting. That seems to me like it's a big problem, okay? And it's not slowing down. It's not stopping. This is continuing to be a problem for young families, for older people. This is a problem. And now all we do really in this country is we fight about it. One side takes a position, go get vaxxed. The other side says, oh, don't go get vaxxed. How about we let people make up their own minds, but at the same time, we've got to look at the science. Everyone talks about the science. The science is that if vaccinated people get vaxxed and then in some cases they get their booster like I did in certain categories, and they're in a situation to where the medicines and the therapeutics and all the things that we've learned are being utilized, we're seeing the death rates go down. Isn't that the goal? Isn't that an existential threat? So, number one, let's say China did this COVID thing on purpose. Let's just assume, okay? That's a huge reach. I'm not saying, so please don't write in. I'm not saying that they did it on purpose. They're not even saying that it happened in a lab. But let's assume they did it on purpose. Or somebody did something like this on purpose. Can I tell you the outcome? It worked. It worked because we're in chaos. This thing has shut down our economy. It's created this unbelievable supply chain issue where now all this inflation is going through the roof. If somebody did this on purpose, it worked. Now, when you take a look at some of the recent statistics, Minnesota, the state of Minnesota, and you got a bunch of wackadoos up there. You got some good people there too, and I love Minneapolis. But you got some nut jobs up there. Their positivity rate today is now 10% up there. It's pretty high. You're seeing this surge again. Now it's cold up there. And I don't know whether the winters and the cold, and no one's been able to explain that to me where it makes any sense, but it appears in the winter, this thing surges a little bit. In Michigan, okay, the COVID rate is the nation's worst in Michigan. Now, again, another cold weather state. I don't know what's causing this. I don't know what their vaccination rates are. But anybody who's sitting back now in their easy chair, oh, this COVID thing's going to go away. It's not going away. The Trump, oh, this will be gone. No, it didn't happen. It's not going to happen. The death rates we are dealing with are coming down. And again, that can only be pointed to the vaccination rates and our medicines that have been developed to handle this. Again, 47 million cases to date in the United States. 47 million. Now, if we have 350 million people, that's a big percentage, man. That is a big number. 47 million, 765,000 deaths. So approaching 800,000 deaths. And Sarah, I asked this question. What's going on in Europe now and these surges we're seeing? Should that be alarming or a warning to the United States in the months to come?
I think so, because I think what happens, obviously, in Europe, we do so much business across the world. We have to pay attention to what happens in other countries. Now, I don't think it's a reason for everyone to shut down and lock down again, but I do think we need to keep our eyes and ears open. Yeah,
the lockdowns were necessary for a short period of time. The states that locked down past that short period of time, I think, made some mistakes. I think when you look back on it, okay? Mm-hmm. Because there was no right or wrong answer here. Because we didn't know anything about this pandemic in January or February of 2000. We didn't know anything.
Right.
And we had to shut down for, 6 weeks to 8 weeks. And Trump knew we had to shut down. There was no getting around it.
Even in my mind, I don't even though it was, Trump, but there was a part of me that doesn't agree with that. But I know that something had to be done.
Okay, so let's just assume that that's what happened, yeah. Okay? My point is that we don't want to go into these lockdowns again. Mm-hmm. And the best way not to go into these lockdowns is for people to take care of themselves. If you're so inclined, get the vaccination. If you do get sick, get to the hospital and get the medications. Try not to give it to anybody else, And the bottom line here is, though, this is a worldwide problem that is not going to go away just by the United States doing A, B, C, and D. Mm-hmm. I think that's what I'm seeing. It is synonymous to me with climate change. Mm-hmm. Because no matter what we do here, if India and China and Russia are doing what they're doing, it really doesn't matter. And what it tells me, Sarah, and you comment to this, please, is that the world is so interconnected now, not only through technology, but through air travel and everything else, and international business, is that we are one community when it all boils down to it.
That's really nicely put.
Yeah.
I like that. And it's true because, you know, the country and the world is evolving. We're evolving as a society. We're able to more easily connect in so many different regards. So it definitely makes sense.
So these existential threats of climate change, I'm not dismissing them, but I just gave you 3 good ones. You guys think about it, but those are the 3 big ones for me right now.
I'd agree with that.
All right.